Davy Chase, the young star behind Lilo and Stitch, dies at 35. Hollywood has lost one of its most memorable child stars. Actress and voice artist Davy Chase, beloved by millions as the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch and feared by horror fans as Samara Morgan in The Ring, has died at the age of 35. According to multiple reports, Chase passed away on June 16, 2026, after suffering complications from meningitis, severe blood infections, and sepsis, which ultimately caused multiple organ failure. She had reportedly been hospitalized earlier in the month after struggling with malnutrition before her condition rapidly deteriorated. For an entire generation, Davy Chase was the unforgettable voice of Lilo, the spirited Hawaiian girl who taught the world that ohana means family. Released in 2002, Lilo and Stitch became one of Disney's most beloved animated classics, and Chase's heartfelt performance helped define its emotional legacy. That same year, she showcased an entirely different side of her talent by portraying the terrifying Samara Morgan in The Ring. Her chilling performance earned widespread acclaim and won her the MTV Movie Award for Best Villain, proving that she possessed remarkable range at such a young age. Beyond those iconic roles, Chase built an impressive career that included the English-language voice of Chihiro in Spirited Away, appearances in Donnie Darko, and a recurring role in the HBO drama Big Love. She also appeared in numerous television shows, establishing herself as one of Hollywood's most recognizable young performers. Sadly, her life after childhood stardom was marked by significant personal struggles. Reports indicate she faced years of instability, health issues, and hardships that kept her away from the spotlight. Those close to her said she dreamed of rebuilding her life and finding peace despite the many challenges she endured. News of her passing has prompted an outpouring of grief across social media, where fans have shared memories of growing up with Lilo and Stitch and being haunted by her unforgettable performance in The Ring. Tributes describe her as an extraordinary talent whose work left a lasting mark on both animation and horror cinema. Though her life ended far too soon, Davy Chase leaves behind a remarkable legacy. Her voice gave life to one of Disney's most beloved characters, while her haunting performance in The Ring became one of horror's defining images. Even decades later, audiences continue to cherish the characters she brought to life. At just 35 years old, Davy Chase's passing is a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile life can be. Her performances will continue to inspire and entertain future generations, ensuring that her legacy lives on long after the final curtain has fallen. Rest in peace, Davy Chase, 1990 to 2026. Your voice, your talent, and your unforgettable performances will never be forgotten. David Hockney, master of pool paintings and portraits, dies at 88. The art world has lost one of its greatest visionaries. David Hockney, the pioneering British painter celebrated for his iconic swimming pool scenes, intimate portraits, and fearless artistic innovation, has died at the age of 88. His death was confirmed by his publicist, who said the artist passed away peacefully at his home in London on June 11, 2026. For more than 6 decades, Hockney transformed modern art with vibrant colors, bold perspectives, and an unmistakable visual style. Rising to prominence during the pop art movement of the 1960s, he became one of Britain's most influential living artists, yet he never allowed himself to be confined to a single style or medium. Whether working with acrylic paint, photography, stage design, or even the iPad, Hockney continually reinvented the way people experienced art. His California-inspired swimming pool paintings became some of the most recognizable artworks of the 20th century. Masterpieces such as A Bigger Splash, The Splash, and Portrait of an Artist, Pool with Two Figures, captured the bright sunshine, crystal-clear water, and modern architecture of Los Angeles, turning everyday scenes into timeless symbols of freedom and beauty. In 2018, Portrait of an Artist, Pool with Two Figures, sold for more than $90 million, briefly becoming the most expensive artwork ever sold by a living artist at auction. Beyond his famous pool scenes, Hockney was equally admired for his deeply personal portraits. Friends, family members, fellow artists, and loved ones frequently appeared in his work, painted with extraordinary warmth and psychological depth. His portraits revealed not only physical likeness, but also the personalities and relationships behind each subject, making them some of the most celebrated works in contemporary art. Hockney was also a technological pioneer. Long before digital art became mainstream, he embraced new creative tools, producing acclaimed works on iPhones and iPads while experimenting with photography, video installations, and multi-image collages that challenged traditional ideas of perspective. His willingness to innovate inspired generations of artists around the world. Tributes have poured in from museums, fellow artists, collectors, and admirers worldwide, celebrating a man whose imagination reshaped modern visual culture. His influence extends far beyond galleries, touching design, photography, digital media, and contemporary artistic expression. David Hockney leaves behind an extraordinary artistic legacy spanning more than 35,000 works. His paintings continue to hang in the world's greatest museums, while his bold vision of color, light, and human connection will inspire future generations. Though the artist is gone, the brilliant blue pools, unforgettable portraits, and innovative spirit that defined his career ensure that his legacy will live on forever. Margaret Carey, the woman who brought Tinker Bell to life, dies at 97. The magic of Disney has lost one of its brightest stars. Margaret Carey, the actress, dancer, and live-action model whose graceful performances inspired Disney's iconic Tinker Bell in the 1953 animated classic Peter Pan, has died at the age of 97. Carey passed away peacefully on June 11, 2026, in Wilmington, North Carolina, surrounded by her 3 children after a courageous battle with lung cancer. For generations of Disney fans, Tinker Bell has represented magic, hope, and childhood wonder. While millions recognize the tiny fairy on screen, few knew that behind every playful gesture, jealous glance, and graceful flight was the performance of Margaret Carey, the real woman behind Tinker Bell. Long before motion capture technology existed, Disney relied on live-action performers to help animators create believable movement. In the early 1950s, Margaret Carey spent months acting out every scene featuring Tinker Bell on a Disney soundstage. Dressed simply in a green costume, she mimed the fairy's emotions, without speaking a single word. Disney's legendary animators, including Mark Davis, carefully studied her expressions, posture, and dance movements before transforming them into one of animation's most beloved characters. Carey often said that animator Mark Davis encouraged her to make Tinker Bell her own. "We want her to be you," he reportedly told her. That advice gave the tiny fairy her unforgettable personality, confident, mischievous, emotional, and full of charm. A career beyond Neverland. Born Peggy Lynch in Springfield, Illinois on May 11, 1929, Margaret began acting as a child before adopting the stage name Margaret Carey. Throughout a career spanning decades, she appeared in classic productions including The Little Rascals. The Andy Griffith Show, the Lone Ranger voice roles in Clutch Cargo and Space Angel. She later became a radio host, public speaker, and frequent guest at Disney conventions, where fans from around the world thanked her for helping create one of Disney's most enduring icons. More than just a Disney legend. Although she was never officially named a Disney legend, Margaret Carey became an unofficial ambassador for Disney history. She loved sharing stories about the painstaking animation process behind Peter Pan, reminding audiences that every frame was drawn by hand. Even in her 90s, she continued attending fan events, signing autographs, and inspiring new generations of artists and Disney enthusiasts. She often expressed amazement that a character she helped shape more than 70 years ago continued to captivate audiences worldwide. A touching goodbye. Margaret's passing came only weeks after the death of her husband, Robert Boak, whom she had reunited with decades after an early romance before marrying in 2020. Their remarkable love story touched many fans in her later years. In announcing her death, her family shared a heartfelt tribute inspired by Peter Pan, encouraging fans to look toward the night sky and remember her whenever they see the second star to the right. A legacy that will never fade. Margaret Carey didn't simply model for Tinker Bell. She gave the fairy her heart, personality, and spirit. Every fluttering wing, playful smile, and magical moment carried a piece of her performance. While Margaret Carey has taken her final bow, the sparkle she brought to Disney animation will continue to shine for generations. As long as audiences believe in a little faith, trust, and pixie dust, Tinker Bell, and the woman who first brought her to life, will never truly be gone. Walter Parazaider, founding member of Chicago, dies at 81. The music world has lost one of its most influential horn players. Walter Parazaider, the legendary saxophonist, flutist, and co-founder of the iconic rock band Chicago, has died at the age of 81 after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. He passed away peacefully under hospice care on June 17, 2026, surrounded by his family. Walter Parazaider wasn't just another member of Chicago. He was the visionary who helped create one of the most distinctive sounds in rock history. Inspired by the Beatles and their groundbreaking use of brass instruments, Parazaider dreamed of forming a rock band powered by horns. That dream became reality in 1967 when he joined forces with Terry Kath, Danny Seraphine, Robert Lamb, James Pankow, Lee Loughnane, and later Peter Cetera to form what would become Chicago. Throughout his remarkable career, Parazaider became known for his mastery of the saxophone, flute, and clarinet. His unforgettable flute solo on Color My World remains one of the most recognizable instrumental moments in classic rock, while his soprano saxophone performance on Just You and Me showcased the unique musical identity that made Chicago stand apart from every other rock band of its era. His ability to blend jazz sophistication with rock energy helped define the band's signature sound. Chicago went on to become one of America's most successful bands, selling more than 100 million records worldwide and producing timeless hits including If You Leave Me Now, Saturday in the Park, 25 or 6 to 4, and Hard to Say I'm Sorry. Parazaider remained a cornerstone of the group for more than 5 decades before retiring from touring in 2017 because of health issues. In 2021, he publicly revealed that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. The band paid an emotional tribute, remembering Parazaider as the man whose vision brought the original members together. Fellow musicians and fans around the world have praised not only his extraordinary musicianship, but also his kindness, dedication, and lifelong passion for music. His influence can still be heard in generations of rock bands that embraced horn sections and jazz-inspired arrangements. Walter Parazaider leaves behind his wife, Jacqueline, whom he was married to for 59 years, and their daughters, Laura and Felicia. Though he is gone, his music will continue to inspire millions. Every time the opening notes of Color My World or the soaring horns of Chicago fill the air, his legacy will live on. Walter Parazaider was more than a founding member of Chicago. He was one of the architects of a musical revolution. His extraordinary talent, innovation, and timeless performances have earned him a permanent place in rock history. He was 81. Abdullah Ibrahim, South Africa's jazz legend, dies at 91. The world of jazz has lost one of its most influential voices. Legendary South African pianist, composer, and anti-apartheid icon Abdullah Ibrahim has passed away at the age of 91, leaving behind a remarkable musical legacy that transformed jazz and inspired generations across the globe. According to his family, Ibrahim died peacefully in Germany after a short illness, surrounded by loved ones. Born Adolf Johannes Brand on October 9, 1934, in Cape Town, South Africa, Ibrahim discovered music at an early age. Raised amid the rich traditions of African church hymns, Cape Malay music, and American jazz, he developed a distinctive style that blended these influences into something entirely his own. His extraordinary talent became evident while he was still a teenager, launching what would become a career spanning more than 7 decades. From Dollar Brand to Abdullah Ibrahim. In the 1950s, Ibrahim became one of the leading figures in South Africa's emerging jazz scene under the stage name Dollar Brand. As a founding member of the Jazz Epistles, the country's first black jazz group to record a full-length album, he helped create a new musical identity during one of South Africa's darkest political eras. The apartheid government made life increasingly difficult for black artists, forcing Ibrahim into exile in the early 1960s. His fortunes changed dramatically in Switzerland, where jazz legend Duke Ellington discovered him performing in a Zurich nightclub. Impressed by his artistry, Ellington helped introduce Ibrahim to international audiences, opening the door to performances and recordings in Europe and the United States. After converting to Islam in 1968, he adopted the name Abdullah Ibrahim, a name that would become synonymous with musical excellence, spiritual depth, and artistic resistance. The soundtrack of freedom. No composition defined Ibrahim's legacy more than Mannenberg, released in 1974. Blending soulful piano melodies with vibrant Cape jazz rhythms, the piece became far more than a jazz classic. It evolved into an unofficial anthem of South Africa's anti-apartheid movement. Played at political gatherings, protests, and community events, Mannenberg symbolized hope and resilience for millions living under apartheid. Decades later, it remains one of the most celebrated works in African jazz history. A global jazz ambassador. Throughout his extraordinary career, Ibrahim recorded more than 70 albums and collaborated with some of the greatest names in jazz, including Duke Ellington, Ornette Coleman, Don Cherry, Max Roach, and fellow South African legend Hugh Masekela. His acclaimed recordings, including African Piano, Water from an Ancient Well, and countless live performances, showcased a unique musical language rooted in African rhythms, spiritual reflection, and improvisation. His concerts often felt less like performances and more like deeply moving conversations between artist and audience. Returning home. Following the end of apartheid, Abdullah Ibrahim returned to South Africa, where he performed at Nelson Mandela's 1994 presidential inauguration, a symbolic homecoming for an artist whose music had become intertwined with the nation's struggle for freedom. Mandela reportedly referred to Ibrahim as our Mozart, recognizing both his extraordinary talent and his cultural importance. Even into his 90s, Ibrahim continued performing around the world, captivating audiences with his elegant piano style and timeless compositions. His final public appearance in South Africa came earlier this year at the Cape Town International Jazz Festival. Tributes pour in. Following news of his passing, tributes arrived from musicians, political leaders, and fans across the world. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa praised Ibrahim as a cultural giant whose music helped define the nation's identity and inspired hope during the struggle against apartheid. Fellow artists remembered him not only as a brilliant pianist, but also as a humble mentor whose influence reached far beyond jazz. A legacy that will never fade. Abdullah Ibrahim's influence extended beyond music. He demonstrated how art could become a powerful force for justice, healing, and unity. His compositions carried the stories of South Africa's people while speaking to universal themes of resilience, spirituality, and freedom. Though the piano has fallen silent, his melodies will continue to inspire future generations. Through timeless masterpieces like Mannenberg and a lifetime dedicated to artistic excellence, Abdullah Ibrahim leaves behind a legacy that will forever echo through the history of jazz. Abdullah Ibrahim was 91 years old. Tom Dreesen, Frank Sinatra's beloved opening act, dies at 86. The entertainment world is mourning the loss of legendary stand-up comedian Tom Dreesen, who has died at the age of 86. His family confirmed that Dreesen passed away at his home in Los Angeles on June 17, 2026. No official cause of death has been announced. For millions of comedy fans, Tom Dreesen wasn't just another stand-up comic. He was a pioneer who helped redefine American comedy. Over a career spanning more than 5 decades, he made over 500 national television appearances, including 61 appearances on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and numerous guest hosting roles on David Letterman's late-night shows. His warm storytelling style, quick wit, and effortless charm made him one of the most respected comedians of his generation. The man who opened for Frank Sinatra. Perhaps no chapter of Dreesen's remarkable career is more memorable than his close friendship with music legend Frank Sinatra. Beginning in 1983, Dreesen became Sinatra's exclusive opening act, touring with the icon for 14 years across the United States and around the world. While opening for Sinatra was a dream few entertainers could imagine, Dreesen earned the singer's trust and friendship through professionalism, loyalty, and an ability to captivate audiences before one of the greatest performers in history took the stage. Their relationship extended far beyond the spotlight. Dreesen later served as a speaker at Sinatra's funeral in 1998 and remained one of the people most closely associated with preserving the legendary singer's legacy. A groundbreaking comedy pioneer. Long before becoming Sinatra's trusted opening act, Dreesen made history in the late 1960s by forming Tim and Tom with comedian Tim Reid. The pair became one of America's first interracial stand-up comedy duos during one of the most turbulent periods in U.S. race relations. Instead of avoiding difficult conversations, their performances used humor to challenge prejudice and bring audiences together. The duo broke barriers that helped pave the way for future generations of diverse comedians. More than a comedian. Beyond stand-up, Dreesen enjoyed a successful acting career with appearances in television classics including Columbo, Murder, She Wrote, and Touched by an Angel, along with films such as Spaceballs, Man on the Moon, and Trouble with a Curve. He also authored 2 books, including his 2020 memoir Still Standing, sharing stories from his extraordinary journey from poverty in Harvey, Illinois, to becoming one of America's most beloved entertainers. Giving back off the stage. Away from the spotlight, Dreesen devoted much of his life to charitable causes, particularly supporting military veterans. As an ambassador for the Gary Sinise Foundation, he regularly participated in fundraising events and motivational speaking, earning admiration not only for his humor but also for his generosity and compassion. Tributes pour in. Following news of his passing, tributes flooded social media from fellow entertainers and fans. Many remember Dreesen as a gifted storyteller whose kindness matched his talent. Deanna Martin, daughter of Dean Martin, wrote, "He was one of the most brilliant comedians of all time. Tonight, he'll once again be opening for Dean, Frank, and Sammy." The heartfelt tribute perfectly captured how closely Dreesen's name had become linked with the golden era of American entertainment. A legacy that will never fade. Tom Dreesen's journey, from shining shoes in suburban Chicago to standing beside Frank Sinatra on the world's biggest stages, is one of perseverance, courage, and extraordinary talent. He broke racial barriers, entertained millions, inspired generations of comedians, and proved that kindness could be as memorable as laughter. He is survived by his daughters, Amy and Jennifer, along with 7 grandchildren. Although the curtain has fallen on one of comedy's true gentlemen, Tom Dreesen's stories, laughter, and legacy will continue to entertain audiences for generations to come. Rest in peace, Tom Dreesen. Andy Lewis extreme sports legend dies at 39 in tragic base jumping accident. The extreme sports world is mourning the heartbreaking loss of legendary daredevil Andy Lewis, widely known as Sketchy Andy, who died on June 14, 2026, in a tragic base jumping accident near Moab, Utah. He was just 39 years old. Lewis was conducting a tandem base jump at the remote Mineral Bottom Canyon when disaster struck. His jump partner, Danny Joe Kregel, also lost his life in the accident. Authorities are continuing to investigate exactly what went wrong. For millions of fans, Andy Lewis wasn't just another extreme athlete. He was one of the pioneers who transformed slacklining and highlining into globally recognized sports. His fearless attitude, unmatched athleticism, and gravity-defying performances inspired an entire generation of adventurers. Lewis rose to worldwide fame after appearing alongside Madonna during the 2012 Super Bowl halftime show, where he performed breathtaking slackline tricks in front of one of the largest television audiences in history. Overnight, the niche sport of slacklining entered mainstream culture, and Lewis became its most recognizable ambassador. Long before the Super Bowl spotlight, Lewis had already built an extraordinary resume. He captured 4 consecutive World Slackline Championships between 2008 and 2011, pioneered countless trickline techniques, and set multiple records, including a Guinness World Record for slackline surfing above China's Diashula waterfall. One of his most famous stunts saw him walking a slackline suspended between 2 hot air balloons more than 4,000 feet above the Nevada desert, a feat few athletes would ever attempt. Beyond competition, Lewis dedicated himself to sharing his passion for adventure. As co-owner of Aerial Arts Moab and founder of Base Jump Moab, he introduced thousands of newcomers to extreme sports through guided experiences. Friends described him as endlessly energetic, creative, and deeply committed to pushing both himself and the sport forward. Despite his remarkable accomplishments, Lewis never hid the dangers of his profession. In interviews, he openly acknowledged that base jumping is among the world's most hazardous sports, carrying significantly higher risks than traditional skydiving. Yet, he believed that embracing calculated risk was part of living life to its fullest, a philosophy that defined his career. Tributes have poured in from fellow athletes, outdoor adventurers, and fans around the world, remembering Andy Lewis as a fearless innovator whose influence stretched far beyond extreme sports. His remarkable achievements, infectious enthusiasm, and willingness to redefine what humans believed possible will continue to inspire future generations. Andy Lewis leaves behind a legacy of courage, creativity, and relentless pursuit of the impossible. Though his life ended far too soon, the impact he made on the world of adventure sports will never be forgotten. And Skadin, beloved ALF star, dies at 77. The television world is mourning the loss of Skadin, the actress who won the hearts of millions as Kate Tanner on the beloved 1980s sitcom ALF. Skadin passed away peacefully at the age of 77, her family announced. While no official cause of death has been released, tributes have poured in from fans and fellow actors celebrating a career that spanned decades. For an entire generation of television viewers, Skadin was the warm, caring, and endlessly patient mother who somehow managed to keep her family together while secretly sharing their home with a wisecracking alien from the planet Melmac. As Kate Tanner, she became the emotional anchor of ALF, balancing comedy with genuine heart. Her chemistry with co-stars Max Wright, Andrea Elson, Benji Gregory, and the puppet alien voiced by Paul Fusco helped turn the NBC sitcom into one of the defining family comedies of the late 1980s. Born in Portland, Oregon, Skadin pursued acting after college, moving first to New York and later Los Angeles to build her career. Throughout the 1970s and early 1980s, she appeared in numerous television hits, including The $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman, Three's Company, Cheers, and Murder, She Wrote. Although she enjoyed a successful television career, it was ALF that transformed her into an international television icon. Ironically, despite the show's enormous popularity, Skadin later revealed that filming ALF was often exhausting. The technically demanding puppet production meant incredibly long shooting days, and cast members frequently described the set as stressful. In later interviews, Skadin candidly admitted that the production sometimes felt like a dysfunctional family, though she always appreciated the love audiences had for the finished series. Those behind-the-scenes challenges never appeared on screen, where her performance remained effortlessly warm and relatable. Following the end of ALF in 1990, Skadin continued acting with guest appearances in series such as Judging Amy while gradually stepping away from Hollywood. Away from the spotlight, she devoted time to her family, charitable work, storytelling, art, and animal rescue. Friends remembered her as witty, creative, compassionate, and fiercely devoted to the people and causes she loved. Her family described her as a force whose humor, creativity, and love left an unforgettable mark on everyone she met. She is survived by her husband of 55 years, Christopher Barrett, their daughter Taylor, extended family members, and her beloved rescue dogs. In her memory, the family has encouraged donations to Habitat for Humanity, reflecting Anne's lifelong commitment to helping others. And Skadin's legacy will live on every time audiences revisit the Tanner family's unforgettable adventures with their mischievous extraterrestrial houseguest. While ALF may have delivered the punchlines, it was Skadin's warmth, grace, and genuine humanity that gave the series its heart. Rest in peace, Skadin, 1949 to 2026. Your kindness, talent, and unforgettable portrayal of Kate Tanner will continue to bring smiles to generations of fans. The hockey world mourns. Former Chicago Blackhawks star Kyle Calder dies at 47. The hockey community is mourning the heartbreaking loss of former NHL forward Kyle Calder, who who has passed away at the age of 47 following a brief illness. His death was confirmed on June 15 by his family, with his daughter Madison sharing an emotional tribute that quickly spread throughout the hockey world. While the exact cause of his illness has not been publicly disclosed, tributes have poured in from former teammates, coaches, fans, and organizations across the NHL. Calder was best known for his time with the Chicago Blackhawks, the franchise that selected him in the 5th round of the 1997 NHL draft. Though he wasn't considered a superstar, Calder earned a reputation as one of hockey's hardest-working forwards. His relentless effort, speed, and determination made him a fan favorite during some of the Blackhawks' most challenging rebuilding years. Over a 10-season NHL career, Calder appeared in 590 regular season games, recording 114 goals and 180 assists for 294 points. Besides Chicago, he also played for the Philadelphia Flyers, Detroit Red Wings, Los Angeles Kings, and Anaheim Ducks. His finest NHL season came in 2005-06, when he scored a career-high 26 goals and 59 points for Chicago, establishing himself as one of the team's offensive leaders. Calder also represented Canada on the international stage, helping his country capture the 2003 IIHF World Championship gold medal. His competitive spirit and relentless style of play earned him respect far beyond the NHL. After retiring from professional hockey in 2012, Calder dedicated himself to developing the next generation of players. He coached youth hockey, including with the Los Angeles Junior Kings, where he became known as a mentor who emphasized character, teamwork, and perseverance just as much as skill. Former players and fellow coaches remembered him as someone who always made time to help young athletes chase their dreams. The Blackhawks organization released a heartfelt statement remembering Calder's passion for the game and his lasting contributions both on and off the ice. NHL alumni and former teammates echoed those sentiments, describing him as a fierce competitor, a loyal friend, and an exceptional father whose impact extended well beyond hockey. Kyle Calder's legacy will not be measured only by the goals he scored or the games he played, but by the countless lives he touched through his leadership, humility, and love for hockey. His passing leaves a deep void in the sport, but his influence will continue to inspire players and fans for years to come. Rest in peace, Kyle Calder, 1979 to 2026. Your dedication, determination, and passion for the game will never be forgotten. Jane Yolen, beloved author of more than 450 books, dies at 87. The literary world has lost one of its most influential storytellers. Acclaimed children's and fantasy author Jane Yolen has died at the age of 87, leaving behind a remarkable legacy that shaped generations of readers. Yolen passed away peacefully on June 11, 2026, at her home in Hatfield, Massachusetts, surrounded by family. Her daughter, author Heidi E.Y. Stemple, confirmed the news, sharing that her mother died, gently with no pain or stress. For more than 6 decades, Jane Yolen proved that children's literature could be every bit as imaginative, intelligent, and emotionally powerful as books written for adults. With an astonishing career that produced over 450 books, she became one of America's most celebrated authors, earning the nickname America's Hans Christian Andersen. Yolen's stories reached readers of every age. She enchanted young children with the beloved Owl Moon, which won the prestigious Caldecott Medal, and delighted millions with the wildly successful How Do Dinosaurs Say Goodnight series. Older readers discovered unforgettable adventures in The Devil's Arithmetic, a powerful Holocaust novel that became a classic in classrooms around the world, along with fantasy favorites such as The Pit Dragon Chronicles. Born in New York City on February 11, 1939, Jane Yolen developed a love of reading and storytelling at an early age. After graduating from Smith College, she began her writing career in the early 1960s. What followed was an extraordinary body of work spanning fantasy, folklore, science fiction, poetry, historical fiction, and nonfiction. She also served as a mentor to countless writers and illustrators, helping shape the future of children's publishing. Her contributions earned numerous honors throughout her lifetime, including the Caldecott Medal, multiple World Fantasy Awards, 2 Nebula Awards, and the title of Grand Master from the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association. These accolades reflected not only her extraordinary talent, but also the profound influence she had on fantasy and children's literature worldwide. Despite publishing hundreds of books, Yolen never lost her passion for storytelling. Friends and family often recalled her favorite motto, "Touch magic, pass it on." That philosophy defined her life, inspiring generations of readers to imagine bigger worlds and believe in the power of stories. Remarkably, Jane Yolen remained creatively active until the very end. Her final book, Terror Birds, is scheduled for publication in July 2026, ensuring that even after her passing, readers will have one more opportunity to experience her imagination. Jane Yolen is survived by her 3 children, including author Heidi E. Y. Stempel, as well as grandchildren and countless admirers across the globe. Though she is gone, her stories will continue to inspire children, parents, educators, and dreamers for generations to come. Her passing marks the end of an extraordinary literary career, but her words, characters, and imagination will live on every time a child opens one of her books and discovers the magic of reading. William Smithers, Dallas and Peyton Place star, dies at 98. Hollywood has lost one of its most respected character actors. William Smithers, best known for portraying ruthless oil tycoon Jeremy Wendell on the hit TV series Dallas, has died at the age of 98. Smithers passed away on May 26, 2026, at his home in Santa Barbara, California. His death was announced weeks later through an obituary, though no official cause of death has been publicly disclosed. For television fans, Smithers will forever be remembered as the powerful businessman who became one of J.R. Ewing's fiercest rivals on Dallas. Appearing in 50 episodes between 1981 and 1989, his character Jeremy Wendell transformed every boardroom confrontation into must-watch television, helping define one of the most successful primetime soap operas of the 1980s. His calm but intimidating presence made him one of the show's most unforgettable villains. Long before Dallas, Smithers earned recognition as David Schuster on the classic ABC drama Peyton Place from 1965 to 1966. That role introduced him to millions of viewers and launched a television career that eventually spanned nearly 400 productions. Over the following decades, audiences saw him in iconic series including Star Trek, Hawaii Five-0, Mission Impossible, The Invaders, The $6 Million Man, and Guiding Light. Smithers also built an impressive film career. He appeared alongside Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman in the 1973 prison drama Papillon, delivering one of the film's most chilling performances as Warden Barra. Other notable movie credits included Trouble Man, Scorpio, Attack, and Death Sport. Born on July 10, 1927, in Richmond, Virginia, Smithers began his acting journey on Broadway. His 1951 performance as Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet, starring Olivia de Havilland, earned him a Theatre World Award. He later became a lifetime member of the prestigious Actors Studio and won an Obie Award, establishing himself as one of America's finest stage performers before transitioning to television and film. Beyond his acting achievements, Smithers made entertainment history through a landmark legal victory. During the 1970s, he successfully sued MGM over a contract dispute involving billing and salary. The case, Smithers v. MGM, became a significant precedent and continues to be studied in entertainment law courses today, strengthening contractual protections for actors throughout Hollywood. Following the death of his wife, renowned acting teacher S. Lorraine Hull Smithers in 2022, Smithers remained active in the arts, supporting theater and community broadcasting projects in Santa Barbara. Even in retirement, his passion for storytelling never faded. William Smithers leaves behind a remarkable legacy spanning more than 6 decades. Whether audiences remember him as the calculating Jeremy Wendell on Dallas, the devoted David Schuster on Peyton Place, or one of Hollywood's most dependable character actors, his performances helped shape generations of television and film. His unforgettable screen presence and lasting influence on the entertainment industry ensure that his legacy will endure for years to come. Teddy Beverly, last surviving Beverly sister, dies at 99. The golden age of British close harmony music has come to an emotional close. Teddy Beverly, the last surviving member of the legendary Beverly Sisters, has died at the age of 99 on June 17, 2026, ending one of the most remarkable family stories in British entertainment history. Born Hazel Pamela Chinnery on May 5, 1927, in Bethnal Green, London, Teddy rose to fame alongside her twin sister Babs and older sister Joy. Together, the trio became household names during the 1950s and 1960s, captivating audiences with their flawless harmonies, glamorous matching outfits, and infectious stage presence. At their peak, the Beverly Sisters were among the highest-paid vocal acts in Europe and helped define Britain's post-war entertainment scene. Their journey began during the Second World War, when the sisters performed for BBC Radio after being discovered by producer Cecil Madden, who encouraged them to adopt the name the Beverly Sisters. From there, their popularity exploded through radio, television, live theater, and record sales. They released more than 250 songs during a career that spanned over 6 decades. Among their biggest hits were I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Little Drummer Boy, Little Donkey, and Sisters. Their polished harmonies made them Christmas favorites, while their television appearances introduced them to millions of viewers across Britain and beyond. The trio even toured internationally, sharing stages with some of the biggest entertainers of the era, including Elvis Presley. Although changing musical tastes eventually pushed traditional vocal groups out of the spotlight, the Beverly Sisters never truly disappeared. During the 1980s, they reinvented their act with modern staging and found a new generation of fans through performances at nightclubs, charity events, military concerts, and LGBTQ+ venues. Their timeless charm proved that great harmony never goes out of style. In recognition of their extraordinary contribution to British entertainment, Teddy, Joy, and Babs were each appointed members of the Order of the British Empire, MB, in 2006. Soon afterward, the sisters retired from performing as Joy's health declined, bringing an end to one of the longest-running careers in popular music. Teddy experienced both triumph and heartbreak in her personal life. She was married twice and is survived by her daughter Sasha and granddaughter Francesca. Her second husband, Donald Cottage, died before her, while her sisters Joy passed away in 2015 and Babs in 2018. With Teddy's passing, the final chapter of the Beverly Sisters has now closed. The Beverly Sisters helped shape British popular entertainment long before the era of modern girl groups. Their impeccable harmonies, elegance, and enduring sisterly bond inspired generations of performers and earned them a permanent place in music history. Today, fans around the world remember not only Teddy Beverly, but also the extraordinary trio that brought joy, warmth, and timeless music to millions. Though the voices have fallen silent, the legacy of the Beverly Sisters will continue to echo through every generation that discovers their unforgettable songs. Eddie Andelman, the godfather of sports radio, dies at 89. The world of sports broadcasting has lost one of its true pioneers. Eddie Andelman, the legendary Boston broadcaster widely known as the godfather of sports radio, has passed away at the age of 89. His family confirmed that Andelman died peacefully at his home on June 15, 2026, surrounded by loved ones, bringing an end to a remarkable career that transformed the way millions of fans experience sports. Long before sports talk became a billion-dollar industry, Eddie Andelman was already proving that passionate conversations about games, teams, and fans could captivate audiences. In 1969, he helped launch the Sports Huddle, one of America's first interactive sports talk radio programs. At a time when radio was dominated by music and traditional news, Andelman invited ordinary fans to call in, debate, celebrate victories, and criticize teams. The revolutionary format became the blueprint for modern sports radio across the United States. Over a broadcasting career spanning more than 4 decades and 13,000 radio shows, Andelman became one of Boston's most recognizable voices. His fearless opinions, quick wit, and willingness to challenge coaches, owners, and athletes made him a favorite among listeners. Whether discussing the Red Sox, Patriots, Celtics, or Bruins, he never hesitated to speak his mind, earning both admiration and controversy while helping shape the identity of Boston's sports media. His influence reached far beyond broadcasting. In 2011, Andelman was inducted into the Massachusetts Broadcasters Hall of Fame, where he was recognized for virtually inventing the sports talk radio format. Countless sports hosts who dominate today's airwaves credit him as one of the industry's greatest innovators. Away from the microphone, Andelman devoted enormous energy to charity. His famous hot dog safari became a beloved Boston tradition, raising millions of dollars for cystic fibrosis research through the Joey Fund while bringing together celebrities, athletes, and everyday fans for a unique community event. His generosity touched thousands of lives beyond the world of sports. Eddie also leaves behind a lasting family legacy. He was the father of Dave, Michael, and Dan Andelman, the creators and hosts behind the popular Phantom Gourmet television series. In announcing his passing, his sons described him as a devoted husband, father, and grandfather whose passion for broadcasting, small businesses, and entertaining people inspired everything they do today. Tributes have poured in from fellow broadcasters, athletes, journalists, and lifelong listeners, many calling him the man who changed sports radio forever. What began as a simple conversation between friends on the radio evolved into a format now heard across thousands of stations worldwide, a testament to Eddie Andelman's vision and love for sports. Though his unmistakable voice has fallen silent, his influence will continue to echo through every sports talk show, every passionate fan debate, and every broadcaster who dares to let the audience become part of the conversation. Rest in peace, Eddie Andelman, 1936 to 2026, the godfather of sports radio. Your voice changed the game forever. Ronnie Schell, beloved Gomer Pyle, USMC star, dies at 94. The entertainment world is mourning the loss of veteran actor and comedian Ronnie Schell, best remembered for his unforgettable role as Corporal Duke Slater in the classic television sitcom Gomer Pyle, USMC. Schell passed away on June 12, 2026, at the age of 94, from natural causes at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles after a recent fall, according to his family and publicist. For millions of viewers, Ronnie Schell wasn't just another supporting actor. He was the wisecracking Marine whose friendship with Gomer Pyle helped define one of television's most beloved comedies. His effortless humor, warm personality, and impeccable comic timing made Duke Slater a fan favorite throughout the series' 5-season run. Born Ronald Ralph Schell on December 23, 1931, in Richmond, California, Schell served 4 years in the U.S. Air Force before discovering his passion for comedy. While attending college, he began performing stand-up in San Francisco's legendary comedy clubs, sharing stages with future stars and gradually building a reputation as one of the West Coast's funniest performers. His big television breakthrough came in 1964 when he joined Gomer Pyle, USMC, as Private Duke Slater, the loyal best friend of Jim Nabors' lovable Marine. Schell appeared in 92 episodes, becoming an essential part of the show's success. He temporarily left during the 4th season to headline his own CBS sitcom, Good Morning, World, alongside a young Goldie Hawn. Although that series lasted only 1 season, Schell returned triumphantly for the final season of Gomer Pyle, this time with Duke promoted to corporal. Beyond Gomer Pyle, Schell enjoyed a career spanning more than 6 decades. Television audiences saw him in hit shows including That Girl, The Love Boat, Mork and Mindy, The Golden Girls, Saved by the Bell, and Yes, Dear. His distinctive voice also became familiar to generations of animation fans through projects including The Smurfs, Battle of the Planets, and Disney's The Cat from Outer Space. Despite jokingly being called America's slowest rising comedian, Schell built one of Hollywood's most enduring careers. Rather than chasing headlines, he became known as a dependable performer who consistently delivered laughter, whether on stage, television, film, or behind the microphone. His colleagues admired his professionalism, while fans appreciated the genuine warmth he brought to every performance. Tributes have poured in from across the entertainment industry, celebrating an actor whose work brought joy to audiences for generations. While many remember him as the witty Duke Slater, Ronnie Schell's legacy extends far beyond a single role. He represented an era of television built on friendship, family entertainment, and timeless comedy. Ronnie Schell is survived by his family and leaves behind a remarkable body of work that continues to entertain audiences around the world. Though Duke Slater has taken his final salute, the laughter Ronnie Schell created will continue to live on through the classic shows and unforgettable performances that made him a television legend. Oliver Tree, the voice behind Life Goes On, dies at 32. The music world is mourning the heartbreaking loss of Oliver Tree, the eccentric artist whose viral hit Life Goes On became an anthem for millions around the world. Tree reportedly died at the age of 32 following a tragic helicopter collision over Rio de Janeiro on June 14, 2026, while traveling during his international world tour. Authorities in Brazil are continuing to investigate the cause of the crash. Born Oliver Tree Nickel in Santa Cruz, California, he built a career unlike anyone else in modern music. With his signature bowl haircut, oversized sunglasses, colorful outfits, and fearless sense of humor, Tree transformed himself into one of the internet's most recognizable musical personalities. But beneath the comedy and outrageous visuals was a gifted songwriter whose music connected deeply with fans struggling through life's ups and downs. His biggest breakthrough came with Life Goes On, a song that exploded across TikTok, YouTube, and streaming platforms in 2021. Its unforgettable chorus, "Life Goes On and On and On," became one of the defining viral sounds of the decade, inspiring billions of plays and countless videos worldwide. Ironically, the song's message about moving forward through hardship has now taken on an even deeper emotional meaning for fans mourning his passing. Oliver Tree refused to fit into any musical category. Throughout albums including Ugly is Beautiful, Cowboy Tears, Alone in a Crowd, and most recently Love You Madly, Hate You Badly, he blended alternative rock, pop, hip-hop, electronic music, and satire into a style that was entirely his own. Whether performing emotional ballads like Hurt, energetic hits such as Alien Boy, or international collaborations like Miss You, Tree constantly challenged expectations. Beyond music, Tree was a filmmaker, visual artist, comedian, and stunt performer. His wildly creative music videos regularly amassed hundreds of millions of views, while his larger-than-life online persona attracted millions of followers. Even his interviews blurred the line between performance art and reality, making him one of the most unpredictable entertainers of his generation. News of his death triggered an overwhelming wave of tributes from fellow musicians, creators, and fans. Artists who worked with him praised not only his creativity, but also his kindness, generosity, and relentless passion for making people smile. His mother also shared an emotional tribute, remembering her son as a fearless artist who never stopped creating. Oliver Tree's career was built on embracing individuality and encouraging others to do the same. His music reminded listeners that life continues despite heartbreak, failure, and loss, a message that now serves as the lasting legacy of an artist whose influence stretched far beyond charts and streaming numbers. Though his life ended far too soon, Oliver Tree's unforgettable songs, bold creativity, and fearless originality will continue to inspire millions for generations to come. Jane Yolen, the pun-loving movie critic who made America smile, dies at 100. The world of entertainment has lost one of its most recognizable voices. Jane Yolen, the legendary NBC Today movie critic whose trademark bushy mustache, oversized glasses, colorful bow ties, and unforgettable puns became part of American television history, has died at the age of 100. His family confirmed that he passed away peacefully on June 12, 2026, following what they described as 100 years of an amazing life. For more than 4 decades, Jane Yolen wasn't just reviewing movies. He was entertaining millions of viewers every morning. From his famous Critics' Corner on NBC's Today, he transformed ordinary film reviews into memorable performances packed with clever wordplay, infectious humor, and unmistakable charm. His reviews often lasted only a couple of minutes, yet audiences remembered them long after the credits rolled. Shalit joined Today as a part-time contributor in 1970 before becoming the program's full-time film critic in 1973. Over the next 40 years, he reviewed thousands of movies, interviewed Hollywood's biggest stars, and became one of the longest-serving personalities in morning television history. He remained with the show until his retirement in 2010, witnessing generations of actors, filmmakers, and television hosts come and go. What truly set Gene Shalit apart wasn't just his movie knowledge, it was his unmistakable style. His reviews overflowed with puns that were often delightfully cheesy, but impossible to forget. Whether praising a masterpiece or criticizing a box office flop, he always found a witty one-liner that became as memorable as the film itself. Viewers tuned in not only to hear whether a movie was worth watching, but also to discover what hilarious phrase Gene would invent next. Before becoming television's favorite movie critic, Shalit built a respected career in print journalism. He wrote for major publications including Look, Ladies' Home Journal, TV Guide, The New York Times, and several national magazines. His passion for storytelling and humor eventually found its perfect home on television, where his unique personality made him instantly recognizable across America. Beyond his professional success, Shalit experienced personal heartbreak. His wife, Nancy, died of cancer in 1978, and years later, he also lost his daughter Emily to ovarian cancer. Despite these tragedies, friends and colleagues remembered him as a warm, generous, and endlessly curious man who never lost his sense of humor. Following news of his passing, the current hosts of NBC's Today honored their longtime colleague with an emotional tribute, celebrating his extraordinary career and the joy he brought to millions of households. Former co-star Al Roker described him as a character without becoming a caricature, praising both his authenticity and kindness. Gene Shalit leaves behind a remarkable legacy that extends far beyond movie criticism. He proved that reviewing films could be informative, funny, and deeply entertaining all at once. His iconic appearance, unforgettable puns, and genuine love for cinema made him one of the most beloved personalities in television history. Though his unmistakable voice has now fallen silent, Gene Shalit's laughter, wit, and timeless love of movies will continue to inspire generations of film lovers. His final review may have ended, but his legacy is one that deserves nothing less than 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.